Good afternoon. I think the last speaker uh, gave us an extensive list of the importance of continuity and the importance of development and how transformation and development brings priorities and new priorities into focus. There was a time, for example, when our housing program was non-existent. Today we have a housing program that has moved the age of home ownership from an average of 57 years to 34 years. There was a time when the average age of owning your own home was 57. You could not dream of owning your own home until you were 57. Today you can own your own home at the age below 35. There was a time when interest rate for housing was close to 40%. Today you can get interest rate for housing at 4.2%. There was a time when we had 0% coverage in treated water. Today we have close to 50% coverage in treated water, and the goal is to take it to 65% in the short term. But to do that, we need continuity. We need continuity of the developmental agenda. We need continuity in policy predictability. And if I'm to give a simple example of how important macro projects are to community development, let us take, for example, the specialty hospital. The specialty hospital would have done a very important thing for Guyana. If somebody have to get a cardiac surgery now, you have to go to Trinidad. The cheapest surgery would be 25,000 US. The government gives you a subsidy of 5,000. That family still have to pay 20,000 US. If we had the specialty hospital, the complete cost for the surgery for a Guyanese living here would have been 5,000 US dollars. And that was the amount that the government would have subsidized for you. So the cost to the family would have been nil. A question that you might want to ask is, how would this be economically viable? The model that was worked out was based on cross-subsidization. So, for example, the persons who will come from Trinidad and all over to utilize the service there would pay the market value of $25,000. And the surplus from that would go to cross-subsidize the delivery of the service for the local Guyanese living here. That's how Trinidad does it, Barbados does it, and all over does it. So we have to understand that policy predictability, policy formulation, policy formation is done in a national context. And when the pastor and the imam and the pandit were praying, they mentioned a very important thing that people ask for at occasions like this. That is guidance to policymakers. That is God's intervention in guiding the hands of policymakers. And they do so because they understand fundamentally that if policymakers do not act in a responsible manner, they can derail, hold back, or disrupt the developmental agenda of the country and the people of that country. So there is no way, for example, we can explain the blockage of a project like the specialty hospital. But it has occurred and we have to move forward. We have to continue development. We had money earmarked for community roads, community development, but we do not have a budget in 2015. So fundamentally, when we want to address community issues, we have to address it also from a macro perspective. The government, to help in community projects, have to get resources budgeted. If you don't have a budget in a given year, then it affects the ability to deliver. Let us look at the issue of squatting, which we must address, and we have to address all across the country. But, as I said before, the development process takes time. When we came to government, for example, there were 289 squatter settlements all across the country. 289 squatter settlements all across the country. Today, we have regularized more than 220 of those squatter settlements. We have regularized more than 220 of those squatter settlements. But sometimes government is so busy delivering that we do not shout about these progress. We do not shout about this because you deserve it. The people of the country deserve it. And it's the duty and responsibility of the government and the policymakers to deliver it to the people of the country. And that is what we have continuously worked on, delivering these services. And yes, I will be the first to say to you there is much more to be done. There is a lot more to be done. But a lot has been done. A lot has been accomplished. A lot has changed. A lot of improvement has come our way. We now, in a united way, together, in a cohesive manner, have to take the mantle forward. We have to set the developmental agenda and paradigm to focus on the needs of the future. And the needs of the future for young people in this region are, in my opinion, number one, the creation of jobs. Number one, the creation of jobs. And number two, living and working in a secured environment. Living and working in a secure environment. And how are we going to create jobs? How are we going to ensure we create high-paying jobs? We create jobs that are attractive to young people. The education system has improved and developed to such an extent that we are now producing graduates. We are producing persons with degrees at a faster rate than any other country in the region. They're looking for a different type of job. That is why we said we are going to develop an ICT platform, an information communication technology platform that is going to move the trajectory of jobs into higher paying, higher value jobs. And very recently we signed a new agreement with the Mecca of IT, India. Bangalore is perhaps the most sophisticated IT city in the world. Has created some of the best IT minds. And we have signed to create an ICT Center of Excellence in Guyana that will bring people from all across the region. That will be linked directly to Region 6 because of the ICT platform we are building with a fiber optic cable. We are also going to work on bringing in more call centers into the country, especially here in Region 6. How important is a call center for Region 6? All over the world you go where there's call centers, two persons benefit, two segments of the society benefit primarily. Single parents and housewives and students. Because the call center operate on a shift basis. And a lot of students who go to university will work in the call center for a few hours so that they earn whilst they study. Single parents who don't have a job can be easily trained to work in a call center. And this is one of the policy direction of the government. This is one of the areas of interest to the government. And this is an area in which we want to invest, we will invest in terms of job creation. The speaker just before me, and I know her well too because I've walked that community with her, mentioned the issue of sugar and how important it is for communities like these. Some people go on right now to the sugar estate to collect their paycheck. It is for that reason that the government is committed to ensure the survival of the sugar industry. It is that reason we continue to plow money into this sugar industry to safeguard the jobs that are connected to this industry. Many persons do not understand the impact the sugar industry have in these communities. So when persons say, come out of sugar. They don't understand that sugar does not only affect the sugar worker, it affects the shopkeeper who sells to the sugar worker. It affects the taxi driver who depends on the sugar worker to pick up and drop based on the salary. People is always telling in sugar company, things bad when factory not grind. I'm from a sugar community. And that is why we are committed to the safeguard of the sugar industry. Take, for example, the initiative we launched. And sometimes we also have to drive. Leaders in the community have to drive people to make use of opportunities. We launched a small business development grant. It was advertised in all the newspapers, everything. We had training in all the regions. A number of persons in Region 5 and 6 benefited from that grant. Angois Avenue, all over. But the problem is, we still have capacity to take in much more application. But we have to drive traffic. And this calls for a collective effort from the leadership, the central government, the NDC, the RDC, and community leaders to ensure we bring as many persons as possible on board as we move the development process. I'm very happy to have been given this opportunity so I could have addressed some of the concerns from a more macro perspective. Today, we are just commissioning for this well. And as we commission this well today, we are already planning the way forward. We have already established in Region 6 that the priority here is treated water. The priority here is the quality of water. The government has invested more than $6 billion in investment in Region 6. If you work out the per capita investment that the government has spent in this region, it is $50,000 for every resident in this region. We have constructed 2 state-of-the-art water treatment plants in number 56 Village and Queenstown. The Rose Hall Water Improvement Project, and installation of transmission main in number 74-75 Village, number 61-62 Village, Letterkenny, Adventure to Alness, Firish, Blackbush Polar, Canefield, Wim, Manchester. However, knowing the priorities of this region, we have just signed a new loan for the construction of more water treatment plants all across the country. Here in Region 6, we will see the construction of a new water treatment plant to cover the village from Shitanka, number 19, and this contract is already signed. This will take the coverage of treated water in this region to 65%. And we're not going to stop there, because in the 5-year program, we want to take the national average to 75%. So we are also designing more efficient technology, more efficient treatment plant with the relevant technology that are cheaper to operate and has low capital investment costs, so that we can also bring the water treatment level even to higher figures. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here. I believe firmly that our country can only move forward in a united way. Water is one of the most unifying commodity. And it's a commodity because it's priced. It is priced. Some countries, the slogan is water is priceless. It's a commodity, it has a value. It costs to be extracted. Just like the way water unify humanity, we have to use the independence that we have gained coming close to 50 years soon, to bring us together and charter a progressive pathway for the future of Guyana. We have to. There is no other option. And we present a national platform, one in which we believe everyone must be involved. The development process is not for me, for my brother here, Mr. Baksh, the chairman, or any individual. The development process is for the betterment of everyone. It's for the betterment of everyone. And we have to work continuously. Sometimes we forget that we're independent. The other day, I see the European Union owes us money based on the erosion of the preferential price for sugar. And I see leaders in this country writing the European Union to block that money from coming into the country. I wonder if they forget that we're an independent nation. I wonder if they forget that we are no longer under colonial rule. How can you be nationalistic and patriotic in your thinking when you will write an international agency blocking resources to come into the country that would go for the development of the sugar sector, the very sector that is providing so much employment and life to the country itself? It cannot be fair. It cannot be right. It cannot be justified. It is fundamentally wrong. And as we move forward, as we take the journey into the future, we must do so with a clear conscience. We must ask ourselves some fundamental questions. Is life today better? Does my child have a better today than I had when I was growing up at her age or his age? Is the conditions in the community better? Is the country better? And if the answer is yes, you have a duty to reward your conscience. You have a duty to reward your conscience. And we are all morally upright enough to reward that conscience by doing the right thing. Thank you very much.
D'accord.